Hey everybody, what's up? KillJoy Jake here, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Today we got a new Scream update. We got a brand new clip this morning on Good Morning America. That was a lot of mornings in that sentence, but we're about to talk about that and a brand new snippet of the score of this new movie by Brian Tyler. We're going to talk about all that in just a second here, but first, I'm going to need y'all to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Also, please consider supporting me on Patreon. That would be pretty sick. The link for that is in the description below. Alrighty, now let's get into it.
What's your favorite scary movie? Name it.
We'll tear your soul apart.
I'm Pennywise the dancing now.
We're gonna get you. Oh, blood on the beast!
God, don't do that.
But sometimes death is better.
So talking about this new Good Morning America clip, I'm going to be putting it on my Twitter page so you'll be able to see it. Thank you to Kay on Twitter, by the way, who sent me this clip because I just don't have cable at my place, so there was no way I was going to watch Good Morning America this morning, but thank you so much for that, Kay. I really appreciate it. Getting into this clip a little bit, though. It's basically just Dewey and Sam and Richie. They're all having a little conversation in what I'm assuming is Dewey's RV trailer that he lives in now. Once again, kind of just speculation, but I'm pretty sure from the trailer. Man's got kicked out of Gail's house and he's living on his own, which is kind of sad. Dewey is kind of seeming like the unfortunate hero here, which typically that character sacrifices themselves at the end of a film, but that's an entirely different conversation right there. The first thing Dewey says to Sam is the most interesting thing about this clip. He's basically going through rules of a horror movie, which are very different than Randy's rules, by the way. Obviously the rules change with every generation or every couple of years or so, of course, but man, these are some wildly different rules. I guess these are all things that Dewey has learned through the course of the past 4 movies, so it would make sense for him to say these things about like what could happen to Sam. But deadpan to her face, he says, make sure to look out for the love interest. Right now they seem all sweet and cuddly, but in the 3rd act they're gonna rip your head off. And Jack Quaid looks all offended like, oh, me? I'm a perfect little baby angel. How could I have done that? Jack Quaid is very sus, and I have speculated in the past that maybe he could be the killer, but all of that kind of comes back to one shot in the trailer that we got specifically. Now, I talked about this in a video a long time ago where you can kind of see Sam specifically stabbing somebody on the ground, and you can see what appears to be Jack Quaid's hair come up on the bottom of the frame. So it kind of looks like she's stabbing Jack Quaid. Why could she be stabbing Jack Quaid? Is it because he's the Ghostface killer? Or could it be for something a little more sinister? Now, if you notice in that specific shot, whoever she's stabbing, Jack Quaid or not, they're not wearing a Ghostface robe. So why is Sam stabbing this person? You can speculate, oh, Sam's the killer in this new movie. I'm highly against that theory. I've talked about it in the past. I'm not a big fan of that. Hopefully that's not the case here. Also, if she's the killer, why she's not wearing a Ghostface robe in this little scene here? That don't make no sense. Ghostface always wears a robe and stabs people. I mean, maybe sometimes they take the mask off to reveal themselves, but like typically they're wearing a robe at least. So Sam is not wearing Ghostface robe in this scene. I don't think she's the killer. They kind of already made like the new final girl the killer in this franchise already, so that would just kind of be like rehashing Scream 4. I kind of hope they don't do that. Now let's say she is stabbing Jack Quaid theoretically in this scene. Could it be because she thinks he's the Ghostface killer? But he's actually not. This new scene we got from Good Morning America today, I genuinely think could lead into that. Everyone in her, all of the OG 3 characters are probably going to warn her about the love interest. We have seen Dewey do it now in the film, and I'm sure there's going to be a scene with Neve Campbell talking to Sam where maybe she brings this same thing up and starts getting into Sam's head about it. As you can remember from some character descriptions that came out recently and from also a recent TV spot, Sam has like some kind of mental disorder where she's like seeing things and like nothing really, there are some things that don't quite add up. We don't know specifically what her mental illness is, but we do know that she is like seeing things out of like the corner of her eye that aren't there. For example, Ghostface runs at her at one point, she looks behind her, nothing's there. And then to the left, an actual Ghostface killer comes and attacks her in that TV spot. It was also confirmed in a character description that she is suffering from some kind of mental illness, unfortunately. So could this character be gaslit into thinking that Richie is the killer, but then that ends up not being the case, and she accidentally murders her very nice boyfriend. There is a lot of reasons to be suspicious of Jack Quaid. He just seems like this like cute little angel, like I was saying earlier. So could they go the route of having the boyfriend be the killer again, but in this case he's not all creepy and gross like Billy Loomis was, and maybe he's just this sweet nice guy that actually turns out to be sinister. I'm definitely favoring the side of like making Sam kill her own boyfriend. That would just be so messed up. I mean, that would be one of the most evil things a Ghostface killer could do. I mean, imagine that scene. Sam, like, for whatever reason, thinks Richie is the killer, and then she goes and she murders him as Richie's saying, it's not me, and then she actually kills Richie, and then stepping out from like another room or whatever, two people in Ghostface robes come up to her, reveal themselves, and say like, we're the killers. Like, dude, that would be so messed up. That would be so messed up. Oh my god. The Radio Silence guys are talking about stepping up the Scream franchise, trying to make it more messed up, trying to make it a darker version of the original film. This would be the way to do it. Oh my god. I mean, imagine if Billy Loomis was innocent. Imagine if you go back to that original movie, Billy Loomis is innocent. Sidney is starting to suspect him by the third act. There's that whole scene about like, oh, you could have made a phone call to me afterwards or whatever. And she is starting to suspect him a little bit. What if Ghostface didn't run in and like pretend stab Billy? What if the case was there was two different people who were Ghostface the entire time, and then she accidentally kills Billy Loomis and she was gaslit into doing that? I mean, dude, that would be a pretty messed up ending. I don't know if it would be better than what the original Scream film did, but I think it would be something cool to explore in a sequel. I have kind of talked about this gaslighting theory in the past a little bit. If you want to check out that video, it'll be right up here. But moving on to another thing we got real recently was a bit of the score from Brian Tyler. Now, I know it is kind of a controversial pick to not have Marco Beltrami come back for this movie. A lot of people were kind of disappointed in that, but personally, I really like Brian Tyler. I've actually listened to the Ready or Not soundtrack, again, which he was involved with, which I'm sure is why he's involved in this project. For those who don't know, Radio Silence, their last movie was Ready or Not, and it is a fantastic film. Arguably the best horror film of 2019. Maybe like Midsummer, Ready or Not is like right there for me with like best 2019 horror films. Make sure to see Ready or Not before you see the new Scream, just to kind of like know what you're getting into. Ready or Not features a wonderful score from Brian Tyler, and I think that once again we are going to get some epic music for this new Scream film. I also think it's going to be cool to get something different. Marco Beltrami, I love what he does with like the score for all the different movies he's done. I've heard a few films that he's done. Actually, most recent was the Fear Street Part 2 that he did the music for, which was awesome. It was really cool. It was very reminiscent of like the Friday the 13th music, which I don't love, but honestly I think Marco Beltrami did it better. Beltrami has a certain style that I loved listening to, especially in that first Scream, but I am excited for something new in this upcoming film. I've talked about so much how this franchise needs a refreshing film, just something completely different from the last. I think Scream 4 is a bit of that. Like, it is quite different from the other films, especially with the whole concept of having the movie within the movie and all that BS, but like, I'm excited for a film that kind of just goes back to like the raw originality of a slasher film, and that has this like dark sense of humor, something that has like some really crazy blood and gore, and has like this like old school soundtrack that we kind of got a taste of with this new clip today. Once again, another thing I don't kind of feel comfortable with putting in my video. I'm not sure if I might get like a copyright strike or something, so I don't want to put that in the video, but once again, all these things that I'm talking about today are going to be on my Twitter page after this video comes out. So make sure to check that out at KillJoyJake1 on Twitter. I talked about Nope earlier today in like my last video, and like literally I think both of those films are going to be my 1 and 2 for 2022. I really think those are going to be my top 2 films of the year, and I'm so excited to see both of them. We're literally getting one in almost a week! I mean, oh my god, Scream is coming out in a week, guys. I am so excited. What do you guys think about this clip and the score that I'm talking about here? I would say leave me a comment below, but comments are disabled. Thanks to Fate Decided for pointing that out on my last video. I appreciate that, buddy. At least the people in r/Scream don't hate me that much. Get wrecked, Tyler. Thank you all so much for watching my new Scream update. The comments will be back on January 14th after the movie releases. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, don't leave a comment because you can't, and also support me on Patreon if you can. That would be pretty awesome. Go check out my Twitter page if you want to see the clip and also listen to this little bit of the score. I'll be retweeting those things. They'll be my latest 2 tweets. Thank you all again for watching, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.